we first saw.
So they put you in a different kind of craft and it went and dropped you off, which I still think was cool of them, by the way. Thank y'all, aliens. Anytime they return anybody, I'm always grateful because a lot of people go missing all around the world every year, and since nobody ever really looks for them too hard, you got to kind of wonder what the hell, man.
What happened? Did they choose to not return, or?
Because I could see where it could have been just as easily. Yeah, see, now you got me thinking a lot of different ways on yours. It definitely sounds like there was alien involvement with the saucers and the 5 foot, and those human guys. I'm gonna be pondering that through my head for probably a long time because, I'm curious. Was it an alien? Was it government? Was it a hybrid? Was it something in between? And I guess until somebody else gets picked up by that particular race, we won't know. But it does have me wondering. But the eyes. When you talk about those alien eyes, it does suggest to me that it might be another type of alien as well. But it's hard to say because Hitler gives a pretty close description to that in his book. He calls them angels, of course. We know today they weren't angels, but that's what he calls them, and it's a fair description to what you're giving.
Who
Hitler.
Oh, Adolf Hitler?
Yeah, Adolf Hitler in his book, Mein Kampf, gives the ones that used to tell him what he was supposed to be doing and all. And you know that Germany built UFOs, right? But what's interesting about it...
I knew they built some, but what? I've never heard of this before.
Yeah, in his book, Mein Kampf, Mein Kampf, in his book, while you're in there reading it, it talks about who told him and gave him all of his ideas and where they came from and what he was doing. And he talked about these 2 angels, this male and female angel, that used to come visit him and tell him what to do. And
wow.
And when people describe those human aliens like you just did and others, it sounds, and I can't swear that that's what it was because we weren't there, but I got to say, Travis, it sounds a whole hell of a lot like them, man.
I've heard them described as angels.
And we know they're not angels simply from the things that they're doing, but still, when you hear descriptions like this, and that's going back 50 years, so that suggests even then they may have been around. Now I know with the human aliens, you said that their features were pretty much like ours. I mean, eyes, nose, lips, mouth, hands. You notice how many digits they had, or?
Yeah, regular hands.
Because I was always wondering, because it's strange. I know on the other ones you said 5 digits and all. And see, that's good. You were actually retaining the information. It means you were looking and paying attention. I guess the fear had you focused.
I guess I wasn't really making a mental note of it at the time. It's just, searching my memory later.
I think the fear kind of etched it in your memory, probably. When you every time you seen something at the first time, it was probably like engraved in your head, saying, "Oh, okay, I'm not forgetting that one." And the little guys, I don't know how you could forget them. I mean, I could see that. You'd be like, "Oh, hell."
But their hands look kind of weird, and I'm not as certain about that. Even though they extended their hands towards me, maybe it's because their fingers were short and their thumbs were long, or something like that.
Yeah, I know they said their opposable thumb is different than ours, or looks different, or weirder than ours. Everybody has a hard time describing. It's almost sometimes like when you're dealing with those guys, that reality seems to be somewhat skewed. And when I listen to you talk, it sounds a bit. In your case, it could have just been from being knocked out and all as well too. But it's something about the way they look at you that it's almost like they're transferring something over when they're looking at you. I don't know. I'm getting scared thinking about it. So we're going to move on to another subject now. Sorry, guys. It's one of those things. Now, I want to kind of backtrack way back to the early. I know y'all are driving down the road and just going home, doing the usual go-home thing like everybody does when they're getting off work, chit-chat and BS and stuff like that. I know y'all seen the light and all that. I mean, from a distance, I know, how far up the road do you think you seen the light before you actually got to the craft?
It wasn't a long ways. It was a real rough and winding road, so, it was only like 100 yards at the most.
Oh, okay. Lots of tree coverage and stuff like that, thick growths and stuff like that. Because I was curious to what kind of illumination was given, like when you see a fire in a forest, or if you see like headlights in a forest. I know there's distinctions in the way they look when you're coming up on them.
Well, you know, in the movie they made the glow that was coming through the trees brighter than it was, and it was redder than it was. Well, we did think maybe it was a fire, but it was more of a golden glow than a red glow. You know, when we said it looked like molten metal, it was like the molten metal coming out of a blast furnace, you know, where it's white hot yellow.
Yeah, that whitish, yellowish.
Not like
oranges.
the pool of lava.
Yeah. No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, see, and I'm glad because I like people to get the right descriptions. That way, you know, people who may have had a similar experience or know someone that's seen something like that, you know, will get it right, or it'll, you know, wake up a memory or something like that. Because really, I don't think you're the only one that these single experiences happen to. I think they had done them to other people. I just don't know in your case if it was a matter of curiosity got the best out of you, or there was something else going on. Somebody just asked me that. They wanted to know, like, after you got home and you were recovering, was there like ongoing medical problems or?
Well, I had, you know, symptoms and from lack of sleep and stress, you know, that was pretty intense, you know, just rash and stuff, and just the effects of sleeplessness and stress. But the truth is, I've been really extraordinarily healthy ever since.
I'd been glad I was just home and happy with the family again, I'll tell you that much. To the person just asked, it actually happened on November 5th, 1975. So it was fairly cold out that night, I would imagine, in November.
Yeah, they said it was getting down around 8 degrees at night.
Ooh, Lord. See, that's why I live in the South. It don't ever get that cold here. Look, guys, this is our cold week this week, 64 degrees.
Well, that's 7,000 feet, you know.
But that's a beautiful country up there. Y'all's winter skies are much prettier than ours are. You're higher up in the atmosphere, a much better view. Now, that's another thing. I mean, Arizona is naturally a high state to start off with, and you're up in the top of the mountains. You got to kind of wonder if that had anything to do with it, because it seems like, you know, the higher up they are, the less chance they have of being seen by someone else. Yeah. And I think I'm going to do a complete re-sweep of y'all's area up there and get an idea of what new facilities are up there, what facilities were up there prior. What's nice, since we've had Clinton in office and now Obama, we might see some declassification of some bases that may have been up there that are no longer being used. I'd like to find that out, just to see if maybe they were watching or if they knew the aliens were up there doing something. Because I don't think our government's quite as ignorant as everybody thinks they are. I don't think they really know everything the aliens are doing or why they're here, but I think they have a better working knowledge of how they get here and when they're here than they like to share with us people.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sure, they know a lot more than...
Now, where was I going? I lost my train again. I was thinking about this, too. You know, y'all going down the hallways. I know the hallways themselves in the first ship, were they tall enough for you to walk, like standing up?
It was very cramped.
You had to be, like, crunched when you were going, or?
Yeah, see, when they went out and they went down the passage to the right, I went to the left just because I was trying to avoid them.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
But, you know, I kept trying to turn to see if they were, like, following me. But the hallway curved, so I couldn't see very far behind me or very far ahead.
I guess it was
that really kind of, you know, led, you know, I've had mixed feelings about running ahead because I didn't know what I was running into, but I kind of felt like it was more likely they were behind me. So.
Now, in the hallway itself, could you, like, touch wall to wall with both hands? I mean, like, if you were standing in the middle, could you?
Yeah, it was real narrow.
It was real narrow. Yeah, I'm just trying to get a feel of it. When they left the room and was moving down, when they went right the other way down the hallway, I mean, were they running just normally running? Were they moving really fast? Any weird way they might have been moving? Or?
Well, they had a kind of a funny way of moving, but it was quick and light.
Yeah, it was light.
When I first saw them and I just pushed them back, or I was so weak, I was trying to hit them, but it was more of a push. So the one of them that I contacted fell into the other one, and he was much lighter than I expected him to be.
Yeah, see, I've often wondered about that, because people tell me they think there might be cartilage instead of bone. because they do move weird.
Light, and when they went out, it was real quick, and you know.
And that's another thing. People tell me they move really fast. For something their size, they move extremely fast. You know, maybe it is cartilage. I don't know. I guess until we can get our hands on one, we won't know the answers to those. But it makes sense because the way you describe it, I mean, I know you couldn't have that much force when you threw your arm out and hit them. And if they had, like, cartilage or one of those types of bones that were full of air bubbles or something, or air, they would have probably been easier to move.